Hey, what's good, people? This is the Option Podcast. This is episode 196. That guy looks like Djordje Klasnic. Look at him. Look at him. We'll find out. The episode starts right now. It's good, DJ.
What's up, dude?
Well, first of all, it's really cool having you on the show because as I go to my split screen, actually let's do that the other way around. Split screen. I had a podcast with Matt Prosser and Travis Muir, and we had like our own little award show, just 5 awards, not like 10, this bull crap, everybody's a winner nonsense. And you are like 2 out of the 3 of us, you are our best newcomer. Like Travis is like, nah, I got DJ. And me, I was like, I'm crazy for you, Mr. DJ. In fact, I'm gonna put that on the edit, on that little Funk Master Flex thing. So what a year. What a fun freaking year, right? Matt Prosser had Ali Son as his best newcomer, and we're like, okay, we forgot about that guy. It's true, he's a newcomer. So what a heck of a year, huh?
First of all, thanks for having me. And yeah, I got that video from a couple of friends. They sent me, and actually, I really appreciate you guys mentioning me and giving me that respect. It was a crazy year. I had honestly no plans. It was for 6 years I was trying, 7 years I was trying to play AVP, and finally they let me play AVP. And I knew all the guys, people know me, but it's different when you first time compete on the different tour. I've been on the world tour for around 10 years, so this is something different. And since I just started, I had some points because they count FIVB points, but I didn't really know where I'm going to end up. So even picking up partners was kind of strange, like you talk to people, but you don't really know who's going to play with you. First tournament I played with Lev, and honestly, I had high expectations, and then we had the tough draw, didn't qualify, and then
What tournament was that?
it was Miami.
All right, cool.
Yeah, and then
Miami was weird, but that's just
but and also like my back spasmed like a week before. I couldn't walk, so we went to Miami and like let's try, and we actually played decent, but we had Steve and Peter in last round, and they served great. They side out pretty well, and it just wasn't our day. And after that, I couldn't find a partner for next tournament in New Orleans, and I called a couple people. I was really thinking already, like, can't find a good blocker. Like, should I block? And then I gave a shot. Like, I sent a message to Brian Miller, and he wasn't really interested. So I kept searching. I didn't know what to do anymore. I sent him another text, like, after a couple of days. I'm like, are you sure you don't want to play? Because he was, like, a big guy who, like...
He's a hitman for hire.
Yeah, so...
The dude is, if your cat gets stuck in a tree, boom, that's your guy.
So I shoot him another text, and he said, okay, let me look the flights. He found the cheap flights. Like, okay, let's do it. So we practiced a couple times, went to New Orleans, had Steve and Peter in qualifications.
No.
But this time, because they beat both of us in Miami. They beat a round before, they beat Brian and Rafi, and then they beat me and Lev. So we were really on it. And we qualified and had a great run, won a couple matches, and it was a honeymoon phase. It worked great. Like everything was working for us. And then there was like a match against Kyle and Tim that we were supposed to win, and then Rav got involved a little bit.
That always, jeez.
Yeah, but anyway, I got my best finish for sure, because that was first time I qualified, and then we finished 7th, and Brian got his best finish for the year. I think once he was 7th or 9th in Manhattan, like a year before.
Right. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, that's how it all started. And then next tournament, I played with Brian in Huntington. Still a good finish, qualified, finished 9th. And then after that, I have to go home. My sister got married, and I'm playing World Tour, and I'm coming back hoping that I'm going to play with Brian, even though his wife was supposed to give birth at that time. So it's really like not sure. So, I'm not really stressed. Like, it's okay. First year, boom, Brian gets injured. Like, he can't play.
Oh.
Literally half month before the sign-up closes. So, again, I'm in the same position. I have no idea who to play with. I start texting people, cannot find a blocker. keep trying, cannot find a blocker. And I say, you know what? I played one tournament in my life as a blocker, and it wasn't bad, but I had really good defender behind me. So I said, let me look who's the fastest
Dude,
that can
my
come
man.
up with digs behind my smaller block, because I know I can make a couple moves, but I needed someone to make digs, and I give a call to Leela, and then Leela said, okay, let's do it. Let's do Manhattan. And then we're like, okay, let's try to qualify for Chicago. Sure, let's do that. So we go to qualification. We qualify for Chicago. Then we play Manhattan. And in Manhattan, we kind of like, we had ups and downs, won couple matches, lost couple. And we kind of figure out, okay, this is what we need to do in order to be better. So we spent another 2 weeks practicing. And then finally in Chicago, we actually came up with really structured playing. And I was already feeling comfortable as a blocker, and it was definitely better. So a season that I could not plan. It was just freestyling. In the end of the season in Laguna, I give a call to Bill Kolinsky. Hey, let's try this. He says, okay, let's try to play, just to see how we play together. I always admire Bill, his work ethic, and
Yeah.
I really like how he thinks. So my goal was like, I want to play a tournament with him to hear how he thinks. So it was great. Like,
Bill,
first tournament I played with him was just like learning, figuring out. Like, we both have a lot of that leadership that we're used to be leaders. So it was kind of interesting to combine mine and his thoughts and tactics, because we were both really strategic. So it was great. So the whole season was just like freestyling. Like,
yeah.
I had no expectations, so it was nice when I did well. I qualified a couple times. In Chicago, we made that surprise beating Taylor's. Then me and Bill finished third in Laguna. So overall, in the end of the season, I look back and I'm like, that was actually a pretty good season. Like, without any planning, I don't know if I could plan better.
I will say this. Our award show also had like a hitman for hire. So hitman for hire is someone you call, you catch him on some not ready stuff, right? But he comes and he shows up and you play, and not only do you meet your expectations, in some ways you exceed your expectations. So my hitman for hire was Travis, because Travis had the same pattern as you, just multiple partners. Who wants to play? Hey, I'm down and this and that. Sure, I can do that. I can do this, and it was a razor close, because you could have won. You could have won 2 awards. You were hitman for hire, and the reason why Travis won is because I think you were looking for the hitman for hire instead of being the hitman for hire, right? Also, I think I want to commend you and highlight the diverse amount of group of partners you had and the personalities that go with them, right? Look, Ryan Miller, hitman for hire. He's chill. I pick things up and put them down. Boom. I'm at the net. I'm a cave troll. Boom. Right. Tucker, very, very good. I wouldn't call him a finesse player, but his style of play is beautiful. To him, the game is more beautiful doing it right than hot dogging and winging it. Right, the game looks more beautiful, and it demonstrates in his game when you see him. He's what you would call, indoor players call, a beautiful player, like the Italian team, right?
For sure.
Or even I don't know. There's the Serbian indoor national team. Everyone except the lefty, beautiful play, right? Silver medalist, right? And
Yeah.
in Rio.
Yeah.
Fun team to watch. I followed them all the way. And then you got Bill Kolinsky. Nice guy, and the kind of guy you want to like play catchphrase with, right? Invite him and Kelly over. Hell, invite Evan Corey and Simo, right? You Vaughn, so you got your girl. But on the court, personality, the dude's a little bit of a control freak. He got something to say every play, and that requires a lot of patience, and to make it about the game where you're not exhausted by the constant amounts of information that he's doing in game, right? So think of the three. Those are just the three, right? You were talking about Lev Prima.
Yeah.
Lev Prima, great blocker.
Completely a fourth personality.
Yeah. Talk about Lev. You take
Yeah.
over.
It's funny that you say that, because a lot of people don't understand this part of the game, right? They just see like volleyball, but there's so much behind. There's personality, like, do they get emotionally involved or no? Some people just don't use emotions. They just play, and they don't care. They don't get affected if you're happy or not. They don't care if they're happy or not. They just play the same. Some people are really about emotions. Some people like to be fired up. And definitely like personalities, like styles of behaving in the game as well completely depends on the partner. Um, I know how I am. I love to be fired up. I love to be loud. I like to feel like a beast and not kind of conservative, because when I'm conservative, my hits are 10% weaker and I get dug, and my serves are 10% weaker and I don't get serve aces. So when I scream, I get that extra 10% that makes a difference.
Whoop it up. Yeah, like stir the pot.
For
Yeah.
sure, for sure. And I read somewhere like Casber was talking about that. Like he's like, everybody tells you like don't scream, like try to like keep the energy, like stay neutral. And I tried it for years and it didn't work. And I figure out that I just play better when I let it go.
Yeah.
And when I read it, I'm like, I understand this because I'm the same. I try to keep the energy, like I would get exhausted from screaming, but I would make my best results when I feel like a beast. And when I would come back home and not play good, my girlfriend Marine would say, "You were just not.
You weren't yourself.
Yeah,
Why weren't you out there being yourself?"
Yeah, she's like, "Why were you not screaming?"
Yeah.
And I said, "You know what? Like, I don't know. But definitely like Brian, really calm, like super nice guy. Like, I would even call it family guy. Like super friendly. Whatever you tell him, he's a machine. He's there. He does like to be fired up. So I was like telling Brian, like, you're a beast, like nobody can stop you. You're the biggest on the net. And he would cruise with that firing up. Like I would get fired up, so I would fire him up. And I feel that we found that, and that's why we actually cruise pretty good together.
Yeah. What
Where,
about Lev? Let's go back to Lev.
where Lev, for example, Lev doesn't need anyone. Lev is like, he's individual and he's there, and he's
Yeah.
gonna like just battling his own head with everyone on the court, and if he feels that he's better, this is something I talk to Lev a lot. If he feels he's better, he's winning. There's no way you can beat Lev if he's convinced that he's better than you.
Yeah.
But the problem with Lev is if he feels that he's not better than you, he usually doesn't give his 100%. Something happens to him, and if you watch
Takes his foot off the gas pedal a little bit.
if you watch his results, he doesn't beat the top teams because he needs that extra push. And I thought when we were practicing that I'm gonna help him get the extra push with the same what I did with Brian, like giving him, encouraging him, firing him up. But for that one tournament that we tried, just wasn't there. But I feel if Lev finally like, like it's like a shark. If you taste blood, you're like, okay, I'm all
Smell
over.
blood in the water. Yeah.
But I still feel he didn't taste it yet, so he doesn't believe yet.
Right.
Even though he would say he does. Like, I feel like you need to win in order to be like, I'm actually right there. I'm with these guys, are better than them, but I feel he still like needs to prove that to himself, that he can beat the top teams,
You know what's cool? Like everything you just said, there's 6 different directions we can go. And everybody listening, like, are we going to go with a big ways crash? Are we going to go with a partner compatibility? Are we going to go with, is this as good as Lev going to be? And it's so cool. But just storing in my memory bank just to stay with it, because you stumbled onto something that's really important that I have a heightened emphasis as a coach as well. Emotions, right? I was taught, my mentor is Mario Tribich, old Russian guy. I'll tell you about him later, it doesn't matter. And Aldis Lucius of Latvia, who went to UCLA, and he taught me how to coach from the neck up. Like, when players become coaches, we know X's and O's, right?
Yeah.
But so the higher the level you coach, you're really just coaching the guy and maximizing what he can do. So they taught me, and it took me a long time to get to this point. Sorry. Big way, for every 5 points you get emotionally high, you might give up 8 on the low. Meaning that the bigger your wave is, right, the more it crashes. However, if you can ride an emotional waves like this, like that, right, you can go from Manhattan Beach Pier to Hermosa Beach Pier and back and not even exhaust yourself. So the reason why I believe you had success, you get a block, you get a scream, right, boom, and then almost immediately, you hit the reset button. You hit the reset button, because there's a handful of people that have this heightened emotion and they ride it through the whole match. And for those people that have that and have that success, we need to take them to the lab and understand them, because that kind of animal coaches, we are taught that doesn't exist. But you may be, and you probably are one of them. Like, let's go on the female side. Fallon Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Fired up from bell to bell. No, her wave doesn't crash. That's one of those things that make all of the people that go, oh, well, studies show this and oh, studies show that, right? Don't even read the damn study, right? But they want to tell you studies show that, right? That there are exceptions to the rule. And two, you need to go back to the lab and understand animals like Fallon on the female side, and maybe, perhaps even you. You know, because I don't think you're doing what Fallon doing. I think you let it out, and then when you hit your partner, you're back there, and you're back. You know what I'm saying? It's so cool. Sorry, but let's talk a little bit about the emotional waves. And you know yourself better than me, so I'm gonna just shut up and listen.
Yeah, I like that question. Thank you. I did think about that for a while. So basically, when I was on Sandcast, I mentioned that people need to play as much as possible. Once you play, you start learning about yourself. When I say play, let me correct this.
Please.
There's too much playing on Hermosa, and there's too much playing in USA. Europe is a little different. That's why they have good results. More drills, less playing.
This guy must have listened to my podcast. You must have listened to previous episodes. Sorry, go ahead. No, you got to. I don't want to break your flow.
I really believe in like deliberate practice and drilling in order to fix your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I spend a lot of time drilling and actually correcting stuff. And I caught myself playing, if you don't have a set partner, is not that useful. If I have a partner that I'm working stuff with, yes, we can play. And we can play every day maybe, and we can get better. Right. But if I'm just playing with different people, I'm not actually improving. I'm actually practicing how to be a better partner for this guy and for this guy and for this guy. And then I did that first year in Hermosa. I tried to play with everyone. Spent a year, great place, playing with the sick players. Everything's great. And after a year, I asked myself, like, okay, what did I improve? What element did I improve this year?
And you're like, tick.
And I looked, and it was
tick.
Nothing.
Talk. You're like, I'll wait. Tick.
Nothing in a year.
That Jeopardy song, dun 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 dun. Right? Yeah.
But I feel that's like a trap. Like Hermosa is a trap. It's like you're moving to a place where there's so many good players, and you fall for that trap of let's play with everyone. Like let me get in this group and that group, but let's play with. Doesn't matter. You get invited by Thea and Trevor and Trine came, and you're practicing with everyone who's good, and then in the end you ask yourself, like, what about me? Like, what did I improve? Because they needed a team to improve their game as a team, but like, right. What did I improve? And it's like nothing. So going back to that, yep. I feel correct. Like I'm correcting myself. Not playing a lot on the beach, practicing a lot, obviously playing with your partner as much as you can, preparing for tournaments, but playing tournaments. So what I learned a lot in playing tournaments, which you cannot practice. You can't practice tournaments in practice. Like the emotions are not involved in practice. You maybe get frustrated if you're not playing good, or maybe you get happy if you beat someone that you want to beat, like who's better than you or higher ranking. But
God, what a waste of time.
Like there's no emotions. So once you go to tournament, now that's involved. So what I learned, I was kind of exploring my game. It's like I play better when I get hot, but then I learned like let's pretend it's like a volume bar, right? What you just showed me, like if I go in red, if I go further than red, if I go too fired up,
right?
That's when like I have pulse in my head, I'm feeling crazy, but if the ball comes and it's not perfect, I would swing it out or I would swing it in the net because I can't control my arms because I'm like too much adrenaline. So I figure out I have to push myself to get in red, but not go through it. So every time like I would kind of feel like that aggression, I would let it out. I would scream. I would let that out. And I would try to, like what you said, to break back and like zoom in, kind of look my opponents. What's my next play?
What did I just do? I went whoosh and took a picture of the fish.
I like the explanation because I would like try to think about what's my next play? Like, what am I trying to block? What is my partner trying to do? Do I need to tell him like, hey, watch this next? Or, hey, let's keep the same call? Or am I supposed to focus on my serve? But my mom, like my parents were both volleyball players, and she would just lose her mind if I would make a good play and then miss a serve. And
Oh
so many
man.
times we had that conversation. She's like, you see, you made a great play here. You screamed and then you missed your serve because you were like too fired up. And
Yeah,
I'm like, I was like, no, but mom's always right. So
it's true.
for sure, like I figure out like there has to be a balance on like how much you get fired up. But for me, that place in the court where I can scream, where there's someone, this is also special. Like you can't just scream to empty beach.
Right.
When there's someone to scream at, like I don't scream to my opponents, but
No.
sometimes if they challenge me. But more like if I have that one friend in the crowd that is screaming back to me.
Hmm.
I had one in New Orleans. He was wearing my jersey, Jewel, and he was screaming all the time. And he's the only one who I need. I was screaming back to him. I was getting fired up.
Let's
If my
go.
girlfriend's there, if my parents are there, if my friends are there, I just need someone to give me back the energy, you know. And if I have
You
that,
only need a little bit. You only need
I'm
the
cruising.
one. You only need the one, right? You didn't need like a
For
big
sure.
crowd. You just needed the one.
But it's that special place that we
Yeah,
practice every single day to get in that special place. It's kind of like a stage, you know. You
it
you
is.
get on the stage and you can finally act, and you know you can enjoy like everything you know how to do. Like you can celebrate your good moves. You know you can get a little upset. You can it's just fun and
You're
like
speaking my language.
I
I'm
couldn't
bilingual, bruh.
I couldn't I
I
couldn't
speak theater and volleyball. Go ahead.
I couldn't stop playing. Like I was thinking for stopping to play volleyball for some time. You know, like couldn't find partner in Serbia. Like I wasn't obviously playing AVP. Like so many times I was thinking like, is it the time? But there's for me there's no place that I'm happier than that stage. It's just like
Yeah.
I get so excited. Like I'm like, okay, we're going to this tournament, to that tournament. My friends are gonna be there. There's crowd. Like it's just you know.
Interesting. Okay. That's my iPad hollering.
So yeah, it's well.
Unplug that.
I
Sorry.
think the iPad is saying like, okay, you're talking
Yeah.
a little
No,
too
they're like
much.
the Warriors and the Grizzlies are on. And I'm like, who gives a crap?
But yeah, great question. Yeah, I feel I would recommend your listeners or people who practice or play as much as you can and figure out who you are. They're just players who cannot stand being fired up. They just like throws them off completely.
Hmm.
They're players who cannot be cold. They're players who like to provoke. So find who you are, test it out, and see if you're winning or losing. I just figured out because I was losing matches when I was too fired up. Okay, this is not for me.
You're giving up 8 on the low for 5 on the high.
Bro, I came so far with my thoughts that I was like, if I get fired up before the game, I'm like, okay, I'm playing like, on the world tour, we're playing semifinals, and I feel kind of like my anxiety, like not even anxiety, that excitement, anxiety. People usually like relate to something bad.
Something on a negative influence,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
let's put it like excitement. You know, if I feel too excited, I would put headphones and play like the slowest song possible. Like, like something super calm. I would pretty much type like uh wave song, like something like super slow, no words, in order to like slow down my mind.
Wow.
But if I feel really cold, I would sometimes like put some like if I'm like I was in the room all day and we're playing this team that I don't really, I would play something crazy, like sometimes even just like motivation video. I would just like, oh, you can do it. You're the best. Like, okay, I'm fired up. So try to like kind of find yourself in that, like,
Yeah.
how do you like to feel before the match, and try to put yourself maybe in that box. Like if you pay attention before every match, usually when the ref gives us like a sign or announces my name, I would try to scream like when I'm getting out to the court, just to get it a little going. Like I would
It's electric.
my partner would like laugh. I would like scream when the warm up, like let's go, come on, I dare.
It's electric. Listen, moving to other sports for a minute. The reason why a lot of fighters, I'll just go to combat sports because MMA is my favorite spectator sport, and I'm what you would call an enthusiast, if not a purist. And a lot of fighters who've already retired, but at the same time want to go back for one more match. It's not because they enjoy the training. They're beaten up, sparring. They done with that. And it's not because of the danger, because the danger is always there every time they fight. The entrance, coming in, your music being played, everybody got their hands out trying to, shake hands with you, and just coming out. and this is a UFC. A lot of boxers talk about this. Wrestling, which is sports entertainment. They say there's nothing in the world, nothing more electric than coming out to this music, and everybody's like, "Bo, bo, bo, bo,
Sure.
bo." You also, going back to what you were talking about, you cracked the code on finding the balance between when do I need to take what I've learned in practice and put it in these training groups, whether I'm playing with my partner or other people, and when do I just need to just do this, right? Because to me, I'm just going to say this, and this is going to hurt a lot of feelings, but I don't give a damn. You will not find something that's more of a waste of your time and sometimes your valuable resources and your money than doing training groups. It is just, I'm saying this as a coach too, which doesn't do me any favors. It is a waste of time if you're not coming into there with something that you practice. Qatar, do you see Qatar do training groups? No, it's refined coaching. I had Sharif on the podcast, and he's like, nope, it's private, and we need to bring someone in. The same way the top players do or are doing with you guys, right? Yep. That's what they're doing. It's not like we want to see you get better. Get the hell out of here with that. They know what they're doing when they invite you, okay? And Qatar, if they want to scrimmage someone. The Spaniards are always there. Guevara and Herrera are down to travel everywhere, right? Their passport stamp, their passport probably looks like looks like Phyllis Diller's face. So you have realized something. You took a step out. All right, this is good for this. This is good for this. What's good for me? Boom. And that is golden. Because it allows you to thrive out here in Hermosa Beach instead of being, I'm not going to say a drop in the bucket, but like someone that in this rating system where everyone wants to rate you a type of player, someone who remains and will always remain in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Right? Lev, no, I'm not going to hurt your feelings. That's where you are right now. That's where you are right now because you're good. But in order for you to change, to be better, there's certain things you have to change about your game. And if it stays the same, the result's going to be the same. You're going to be better than the teams you're better than. You're going to beat the teams you're better than. You're going to lose the teams that are better than you. There are going to be no major upsets because of that. So and Lev, I wanted on the podcast so much because I want to see how that guy's mind works, right? The man's an academic, right? You got your master's in computer science, right? So for my fans, and I'm rambling on, but I just wanted to cite some of these guys that they're just high school kids, didn't want to go to college. No, we got some smart dudes here. This man has a master's degree in computer science, right? Lev has his PhD in some kind of crazy, he's probably in a lab, inventing fake boobs or something. I don't know, right? What the hell is he doing? But I wanted to commend that you came in early and stepped away off the stage. I'll use a theater reference. See what the stage looks like. Dress rehearsal, tech rehearsal. This is where I fit in, and this is where I can get better. So, very, very good. You're what part of Serbia are you from?
I'm from Novi Sad. It's the best city in the world.
Actually, I think my homegirl Svetlana was from there. East Coast girl. She played for LIU.
Yeah, I know Svetlana. Yeah.
She's cool. I'm from New York, so she go to Central Park every day, and she played with the guys. She get beat up with the guys, but you know what I'm saying? If you could take care of that first hit, we don't care. Like pickup games, I don't care. You probably don't care who you go play with, but if you could take care of first hit, we're all right.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. She played on the national team a little bit.
I think a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And Pottstown Rumble, one of the biggest grass tournaments. Actually, the most grueling tournament in all of volleyball. It's grass, side out to 15 on the last week of June in the hottest place in America.
Yeah, I play no grass.
It's
tried once.
Night lights. It's all day, all night, and all day again. Side out. You play against me, and if we pass, and guess what? An hour goes by and it's still 5-5.
I know. I love it. I love the idea. It's just
she won that twice with Ola. She won with Ola.
Too rough for her.
Yeah, Alexandra Vukovic, Ola. She won with Ola. So, but I don't even know why I brought her up. But so that part of Serbia, let's ask the golden questions because it'd be podcast malpractice for me not to ask this. How'd you get into volleyball? Everyone knows how I got in. How'd you get in?
As I mentioned, both of my parents were volleyball players, and then they have indoor clubs. So since I was a kid, throwing ball, then slowly peppering with parents, then they would go, since they stopped playing indoor already, um, they would go to the beach volleyball. Obviously, like the reason why I moved to US is there's no beach volleyball in Serbia. When I say that, I mean there's no beach volleyball that you can play all year. There's no indoor
Right.
facilities. There's just summer that you can play outside when there's no rain and it's not too cold. So we play for a couple months. So my parents would go and play, and we were really like, I have two sisters. Three of us would go with them and just play in sand. So slowly we kind of like figure out, then when we got a little older, like play with them, like me and my mom, or me and my sister against mom and dad. And then slowly, like I got a little taller, a little stronger, like then it was like, okay, like let's figure out how we're gonna do these teams. And every vacation they joke, like we would go to Greece, and I would wake up at 7 a.m. and be like, okay, let's go play. And they're like, oh, let's just drink coffee, breakfast, and then we'll go. And they still joke about that. Like we put him in sand, and he still didn't get out of the sand.
Nice.
Like I'm still 28 and still in sand.
Did you play indoor?
I played indoor, yeah. So Serbia doesn't have beach, so I grew up playing indoor. My dream was obviously to be an indoor player, and then
What position?
I was an outside. And then like the older I was getting, the more they were like, okay, you're not tall enough, you're not jumping enough. And pretty much like Serbia is one of the top indoor countries.
Yeah, look at Gerbic and Gerbic. They're not terribly tall players, right?
Well,
the
Gerbic,
brothers,
they're,
right?
They're taller and they're jump higher.
How tall are we talking about?
Like they're almost 2 meters. Like Vanya is almost 2 meters, and and Nikola is the setter. So, in Serbia,
who by the way can block, is a really disciplined blocker.
Well, my mom was a setter. She wanted me to be a setter,
Right.
but I wanted to be like my dad, which is outside. So basically, I was playing in Vojvodina, which is the best team in the country, and selection was really rough. Like if you're not 2 meters or you're not flying,
Right.
you're not being outside. So when I got to seniors, they told me like, okay, there are these outsides, they're in front of you. You can be a libero. And that was the moment where I was like, I think I'm transitioning to beach, because I was already in the national team. I experienced playing European, world champs, like I play my world champs, I think 12 years ago, which is kind of crazy. Time flies.
Yeah,
But-
no doubt, dude.
But yeah, so I slowly transitioned to beach. And then when I figure out that I want to play pro, and there's no pro in Europe, in Serbia actually, there is in Europe, but in Serbia in general, I start coming to US, and then year by year, I met Marine, my girlfriend, and then we decided to move to California, and that's when I got my
I'm actually
student
while you're talking,
visa.
I'm actually looking for the play, the gold medal play that
Okay.
I
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
that we all remember. But cool, sorry. I don't know if you remember, his Gerbic,
Yeah,
he
of
played a
course.
ball, like he had to play the ball and like jumped into the crowd and played it back, and then came back and
And
then
made the
blocked
block, yep.
Krasilnikov or
sure.
something like that. No, not Krasilnikov. I forgot the opposite. Just a booming Russian guy, man. But that was awesome. It was
Yeah.
because we all remember that. You were probably a child, or watching video back in the day. So
Yeah, but I
cool.
know the play.
Is your girlfriend Serbian too?
No, my girlfriend is French. So we met in Florida for 3.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And since we were both Europeans, and we both play volleyball, like we started talking, and one thing led to another. And then she was playing indoor at that time at Lynn University.
Yeah.
And she got a scholarship to play for LMU.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Here with John Mayer. And
I know that. Here's the play. Wait, here's the play. Check it out. Brings it back.
For sure. It's one of the best plays ever in indoor volleyball. It's
And he
just
comes
insane.
back, the same guy who brought the ball back in, got the block. Yeah. So, all right. So, dude, you're talking about LMU. I was John Mayer's assistant. So I was there for 2 years. I was his assistant 2018 and 2019.
That's awesome.
And then I left to do our color commentary for P1440, and because they had gigs for like the Big West Championship game and
For sure.
all the Pepperdine's home games. So, but John, talk to me about your girlfriend.
So basically, when she got an offer for LMU, and then she got an offer for UCLA. And offer for LMU was a little bigger, like kind of covering housing or something.
Yeah.
But I really love John. Like I didn't meet him in that time, but I just know his work. I know how how he is as player. I was already listening to his podcast, and I'm like, babe, this guy's genius. Like,
He really
if
is.
you wanna, cause she was just moving to beach, like she wasn't really experiencing, like she was just playing in France, but she never like played a whole season, like 12 months, practice every day. Like she didn't know the story behind like how you actually understand beach. So I was like, this guy is gonna teach you everything, and after this, you're gonna be completely different player. And she
I
followed.
agree. Yeah.
She followed what I told her. She accepted LMU, and they were really like on conversation. Him and Betsy were just super nice to
Yeah,
her.
Betsy
So,
was the assistant, and Aaron Mansfield. Actually, a girlfriend came after Aaron. Aaron was the indoor head coach for women.
yeah,
So when I was with John, it was Betsy, Aaron, and me. I was the director of
yeah.
operations.
But Betsy is also like,
Yeah.
as we all know, amazing
Yeah.
player. So
And yeah, not functioning as a head coach, she's perfect. As an assistant, it's perfect.
no, it was such a good environment, and Marine learned a lot, and I'm so happy that she got through that. And then she had obviously me on the other hand as helping her a little bit with like the feedback that I have as a coach slash player, throughout the years. So the funny thing about me is like I didn't have that many coaches. Serbia had a couple good players who were teaching us, but no coaches who were on like successful in the world tour.
Right.
More like players teaching us. So I had to learn a lot by myself. I had to learn how a game improves by myself, like talking to other players, another coaches, listening like podcasts, watching other videos, like trying to analyze them, analyze my game, and I learned everything with my own thoughts. So I kind of think I understand the game a lot because I had to go through this, but I'm also 28 when I feel
Yeah.
like I finally understand it, and now I can kind of make deliberate practices and understand how I play better with my emotions and what are my weaknesses. It took a time. If you have really good coaches, now you're Swedish guys, you're 17 and you're
Yeah.
at the same spot where I am because you
Yeah.
already put in these years that I was putting, but somebody was already teaching you instead of you had to spend double time to learn yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just a shortcut for Marine. Like, boom, you're going there, you're gonna learn a lot. I'll help you. And after 2 years, she came out like amazing player.
Well, it's a pretty easy choice with respect to Stein Metzger, right? Stein Metzger has had really good assistant coaches at the time. Jeff Alzina, who I think is one of the best coaches in America as far as top 3 coaches. He's at Santa Clara right now, but Jeff was his assistant. Johnson was his assistant. But if you look at volleyball minds, that choosing between John Mayer and Stein Metzger, mad respects to Stein, but I'm choosing John Mayer any day of the week and twice on
For
Sunday.
sure, if we talk coaches, but
yes.
if we talk like, hey, UCLA,
Yeah.
you're like, damn.
No, but
I could be UCLA.
UCLA, look.
There's some respect in like.
Of course, there's
being
respect.
alumni for UCLA.
All right, we have an old saying. I'm just gonna give it to you real. All right. I'm from New York, so we have this thing for indoor. When you see talented West Coast players, it's the players, right? When you see talented Midwest players, it's the coaches. When you see talented East Coast players, it's the immigrants. It's the immigration population. So that's been a general rule as long as I've been playing volleyball. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Stein because Stein has actually made the finals with UCLA with less talent. I remember Savvy Simo was his lone senior one year and they still made the finals. So he's a good coach. He's a very good coach. And some would say he's a great coach. But having talking to Stein on a limited basis, but having worked with John, no. You talk to John once and you leave that conversation, you feel like you were in the head of a genius.
I completely agree.
He is, yeah. And the reason why a lot of people don't want to play for him is because of the volume of work that he requires for you to prepare for a match. Some girls want to find an easier way, and UCLA is always going to have talent, right? Like Sarah Sponsel left LMU.
For sure.
She left LMU to play for John. Good for her, right? She won two chips, right? Bo Kulo, who's from Croatia, right? She transferred from Florida State. She played for John, but eventually she wound up at USC. So there's some people that leave because the volume of work that he requires to prepare you for the match is not, maybe it's unconventional, maybe it's too much. information for some girls. But in practice and process, there's no such thing as too much information. You know what's too much information is a bad thing when you're in a freaking game. All right. Dude, I was coaching Jeff Samuels, and I'm like, I couldn't say more than 5 words that I got before. It's like too much information, too much information.
So it really depends on the person.
Right.
And like, if you coach, the more you coach, you figure out like, you know, I help Marine a lot, obviously, and then I know myself and I know other people. And depending on the person, you have to filter how many informations are you giving. Some people are just like, tell me like one thing, tell me 2 things. Yep. My partner, he never watches tape. Right. I think that's our weakness as a team, but still, he doesn't want to watch a tape because he feels he gets overwhelmed and then he cannot focus on what he's doing.
He'll get paralysis through analysis.
I watch
paralysis through analysis. That's what we call that. But go ahead.
But I watch every single match. Like before every match, I watch a couple videos. I would spend hours. Like if I have a night before match, I would spend all night figuring out what they do. Even though I watch the team a million times, I practice with them. Yep. When I practice, I don't focus on that. But I'm preparing a match. I'm coming with a plan. Yep. And I love overload information. On the coaching, if you're coaching me, I love like, you need to lean on this leg, and then you need to turn your head here, and then your hand needs to be like, but some people don't like that. No, so
you're just a nerd too, though, right? This is your escapism became your career.
I really feel like it depends, you know, like it depends. Yeah. It depends on the person, you know, some people just, it's not that they don't want to be good. You know, it's not that they give less effort. It's just like they figure out that overloading information doesn't work for them.
Right.
And, you know, like, it really depends. But talking about coaches, if there are 2 coaches in NCAA that I would love to be coached, and I told that to Marine, it's definitely John and Todd Rogers. I'm like, I want to be, I literally told her I'm so jealous. Like, I'm so jealous on like, she was telling me like every time what they did on practice and what John was challenging them. And, you know,
you should listen to that episode, dude. I had him on the podcast.
Dude, it's just like him and Todd are such a nerds.
He's a professor.
You know, they're like amazing.
Do you know why though? They were kind of coaches before they retired from playing. But they were like, they called Todd the professor, right? So you knew when he stopped playing, you're like, that guy, that maybe Phil ain't gonna coach. Maybe Phil's gonna coach kids for fun, right? Which he's doing in Florida. But you're like, no, that dude's gonna be a coach.
But that's I'm not even talking about coaching, but that brain, understanding volleyball that good, that's what made them good as players. It's like, if you can learn and understand volleyball, you can be a good player or coach, doesn't matter, because you own it. You understand it.
Well, delivery is important too, right?
For sure. But I'm like, it's amazing how they understand volleyball.
Right. How many people know more than John? A lot. But how many people deliver it like John? How many people disseminate the information? How many people make sense? This is why you can have someone who's never dribbled a basketball in his life be a better coach than someone who has 2 NBA rings, right? Isaiah Thomas will never, ever be better than Chuck Daly. Chuck Daly has never dribbled a basketball in his life. He coached the bad boys. He coached all of those personalities to 2 rings, right? Charlie Sullivan, who's at Springfield College, in my opinion, is a better coach than John Speraw. And if you ask John Speraw, he'll say I'm right. So this whole thing, like you have to play the game to coach the game, is absolute nonsense. Why? Because they're 2 different occupations. They're 2 different jobs, which is why John. Well, how does John?
I would not.
Stein had a better career than John.
I would not agree 100%
yet
with that.
John has all of his recruits stolen from him by USC and UCLA, and is always in the NCAA championship. In fact, beat UCLA the first round at LSU the same day in 2021. I think your girlfriend was on that team. So I'm not making an argument completely the other way. I'm just taking exception of these narcissistic, egotistical guys who think that just because they're playing, they're entitled to be this great coach. You're not. They're 2 different occupations. So it's color commentary. So that's why Marv Albert will always be a better color commentator than Magic Johnson. That's why Jeff Van Gundy, who never played in the NBA, will always be a play-by-play guy and better color commentator than you pick it, than LeBron James. The job of playing professional sports, being a player, and the job of talking about it are 2 different occupations.
If you let me add it.
No, sure, please. I gotta let you get a word in. Sorry, man.
I would not 100% agree with that in a way of, good player, I agree with that part. Good player doesn't mean you're like great player. Doesn't mean you're a great coach.
Okay.
But
Well, they're not going to hurt your game.
But
Right.
I do feel that to be a good coach, you would probably need to be a good player. So what do I mean by this?
Yep.
If you, and we're talking beach volleyball. Basketball is a little different. Beach volleyball, really hard sport.
Lucas Wagner.
If you never played,
Germany.
it's so hard to understand the wind and the tactic and the different serves and the tendencies. In basketball and some other sports, it's a little easier where like not that many factors are involved. But I don't know that many beach volleyball coaches who never, like I almost don't know coaches who never played. Like almost all beach volleyball coaches, we're talking, let's say World Tour, not NCAA, but we talk World Tour. Almost all those people played.
It's easier. It's actually easier. Are you kidding?
Exactly.
Try being a football coach with a 53-person roster where they have wind, where they have rain, right? And they can't call off the game because of that, right? Try being a head coach who's never played football in his life, and he's a head coach. Bill Parcells never played in the NFL. He's one of the best coaches of all time. Bill Belichick coached at West Point under Bill Parcells. These guys have never played the game. I'm going to support your argument. I will tell you that someone that played the game who decides to become a coach will never hurt your game. They're just levels to how much
sure.
they can hurt. They can help.
So
and if they get outworked by someone who spends more time in a video room and becomes a better coach than them, they cannot, in their ego and their narcissism, be dismissive because that guy's never played, especially after he's demonstrated success.
No, I completely agree. What I wanted to say is like, you're a great player. If you don't know how to transfer the information, what you said, you're not a great coach.
No.
If you're a great player, but you know how to transfer information, now you're so valuable. Like that path of explaining is so much faster than you just like a random player who just, like being on the Todd Rogers being on top level, he knows how to explain like you need to do this in order to win. And I feel also because you were on the top level, you get a little respect and a little less doubt from players on like when you tell them something, they're
100%.
not like, I don't know because the other coach told me this. No, it's like Todd Rogers just told me this.
He's
like,
a gold medalist as a player.
Yeah,
and they use that ridiculous non sequitur to take his word over the other guy.
Like imagine that. You're like, I'm not even remembering what other coaches told me because Todd just told me this. So it's a big respect if you were an amazing player. But obviously,
do those build champions?
Coaches.
Do they build champions? They build players, right? And they're not going to hurt their game. But can that guy build a champion? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure like those people, like the good coach, like again we talk about John Mayer, right?
Yeah.
John Mayer, he coached Betsy. He coached Andy.
Yep.
He coached Billy Allen.
Like longtime friends.
He coached champions.
Yep.
And the thing is like because LMU is not winning.
But those people were champions before John was their coach.
I don't know.
Well, maybe not Benesh.
Doesn't matter.
Maybe not Benesh, but Billy Allen already won with Theo Brunner before John Mayer
my point
even
is
hit
like,
that coaching.
We can judge them in the NCAA just because it depends on budget.
Right.
Like if John Mayer has unlimited budget, obviously he would have crazy good team. Mm-hmm. But if you watch John Mayer's like when Marine was there, you watch their lineup, you're like, whew, I don't know if this lineup is going to be great. But John makes them good.
Yes.
John makes that team of this is insane. He watched Marine's tape before she actually played like any crazy good tournaments. She played against Lily and Larissa, and she took them to 3. But she has no like strategy. She's playing like simple strategy. Like she's pooling. She's a great pooler. Like swings couple. And he saw that video, even though Marine is not beach volleyball, like pro beach volleyball player.
Right.
He's like, I see something in it. And he gives Marine full scholarship without actually like seeing her in person play. Mm-hmm. So like that's how important it is when you have a lower budget to like recognize the talent. Mm-hmm. That in the end, Marine was the 2nd seed in that LMU team.
Yeah.
So John just makes players. He takes whatever like he feels this is a good talent, and he's boom. So good, end of the season, you compare players. You're like, I cannot believe this.
You want to talk about someone who does more with less. Look, the season before I entered that coaching pool, right? They were 6-13. He just got them, and he was barring indoor players. He just got there, right? Betsy, of course, she's LMU. The girl bleeds red, so she's going to be there in some respect. And then the year I came, You know, I'm a pure indoor guy, by the way. John was my beach mentor. I learned the beach game from two people. Oz Borges, a crazy Cuban guy who now lives in Florida, who's a skill set Nazi, and the other guy who no one talks about. He's on I'll show you a picture. There's a picture behind you, but and there's a story behind him in the coaching pool. But the other guy was John Mayer, and John Mayer, just having you understand the why, having you understand weighing your options. Huge guy on controllables, right? You know, we can have that conversation about things you can control that the other team can't make you not do, right? Yeah. On-court controllables, right? I'll give you a couple. In-system setting, right? I'll give you a perfect pass. The other team can't make you set poorly. That's a controllable, right? Where your starting position is to navigate like some of these down ball situations or pull situations. No one can make you not play the right spot. Yeah. Serve, 100% control, right? So what the hell? We're having a little fun. Give me an example of an on-the-court controllable or an off-the-court controllable. Something you have complete control of that the other team cannot make you not do.
I for sure like what you mentioned, the serve. Serve was definitely one
That's
of the
100%,
things,
yeah.
It was one of the things that I struggled for a while, and I just felt, I never found my float, and I still don't have a good float.
Right.
And that's why I tried jump serving for years, and like, it doesn't work. I make 3 errors per set, and I get 0 to 1 aces, or I make 5 errors.
Sounds like good numbers to me.
And then I would make like, but it's still 0 to 1. Some sets 0. So I risk, but I don't get a reward. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just try skyball. And
I love that.
More and more and more. And
I'm going back on my computer.
You're not gonna believe, but I serve skyball because it's more efficient. If that makes sense. It's more efficient than the jump serve for me.
You can set up your defense. You can watch it. You can.
But I'm not even.
And you're watching a ball. You're watching like all 3 contacts.
I'm not even talking about.
Tell me.
Getting them like to like look up or, you know, giving myself time. I'm just talking about how many errors and how many points.
All right.
I miss less and I win more points. So it was obvious for me, like, stop jump serving, start skyballing. Just works better for you. And then in the end, you get a reward that crowd likes it. So maybe you become a crowd pleaser if you do it enough.
I had one on your Facebook wall that I was watching. I was scrolling through your wall or whatever and looking at all your sponsors. I'm glad you got some sponsors. Congratulations, Side Out. Is the e-bike one of the things too? Is that one of your sponsors as well? Or are you just doing it for the world? Are you doing that to save the world? Are you Captain Planet?
I like to share, you know, like the companies there that I like, and you know, that I kind of partner up with, you know, and stuff like that. And e-bike that I'm using right now is amazing, and you know, I recommend.
I love it because it looks like a regular bike. It don't even look like this heavy ass.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't.
And then, you know, the Side Out, they're trying to bring that comeback of the old brand, you know, that was super popular like 20 years ago. And I just enjoy being a part of, like, you know, this kind of bigger story. Mm-hmm. It's not just clothing. It's like, you know, I would walk on the street and some guy would like just stop me. He's like, "Is that Side Out?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude, like,
it's my favorite movie." And
he's like, "I used to watch like people play beach volleyball like 20 years ago. They used to wear that." I'm like, "Yeah, they're bringing it back." They're like, "Sick." Yep. So it's just like, it's fun being a part of the.
Let's see your skyball for a sec. Oh, nice. That makes Jeff Samuel smile. There goes Ian Bicko. There's a nice touch. What do you say, kiddo?
It's me learning how to block. It was that was a first event. That was the first
Huntington
event
Beach, right?
For me and Leela. That was a qualifier, in Huntington. Yeah.
Huntington Beach. Yeah, for the people listening, last year, the Chicago qualifier was at Huntington Beach. The AVP trying to catch people on some not ready stuff, right? And it's like, okay, I need a partner. Lilo, come on, let's go. What are you doing? I'm a block. You? Yeah, me. So, yeah, one of my girls was in it, Natalie Miskowski.
Nice.
She, I've been coaching her when she was 13 all the way to 16 years old, and she had a gnarly bracket. In fact, first round was tough, second round, third round she had to play the Brazilians.
Oh yeah.
Somehow, some way won that.
Wow.
Yeah, the 20 years old, right? And then they I don't know who they lost to, but they lost their playing game. But the Brazilians was clearly the biggest victory of her career. right?
sure.
She's at UCLA and she's doing her junior year.
Nice.
But that's another example, like Dane Selesnik, right? Longtime coach who some of the kids look up to. He has a story to reflect on. So, you know, for Dane, good for you. You get to jump in front of that parade, and no one knows that I actually coached that girl for 4 years, right? I was there when I was there for her to sign her commitment letter, actually, because her sister went to USC. Because Anna Coyer at the time recruited her sister because they knew that they were close. So she tried to get the sister to recruit her. And Natalie, in the biggest gangster move of all, said, I'm going to play for Stein.
Nice.
So I want to talk about, before we got into the podcast, I'll talk a little bit about your girlfriend. You coach her here and there, like a little bit whenever you get the chance. And some of these things that you, as a player, right? Because like we both agree that good players can never hurt your game as a coach. It just levels to how much they can help. Can they help this much? Can they help John Mayer much? Can they help Dane much? Right? Is there anything you walk away from some of the practices, the games, that you kind of like remind her, and then you tell yourself like, wait, do I do that? Am I minding my P's and Q's on that too? Do you know what I'm asking you right now? Is there something like one or two, maybe one thing, maybe two things, maybe nothing, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm just full of crap asking this question, but is there something where you're like, hey, look, right hand in her face, left hand press, and then like maybe your next practice, like, wait, I just told her that, am I doing that?
Yeah, so I would not like catch myself like, oh, like I'm not doing that. I would straight away tell her like, hey, like this is what you're supposed to do. I know because I'm also not doing it. And I know that's the right way. And you know, like I would be like, if you're playing that type of attacker, you need to do this. And but if you move early, you know, like they're gonna see you. I know because I move early. You know, so I kind of try to teach her by my experience. Again, what I said, I spent years trying to learn this game, and I just want to speed it up for people. You know, like if anybody would ask me for advice, I would be like, this is what you need to do. Just because it took me years. It took me years to learn this game. So anything I can like kind of help her and speed up her improvement, I try to give her. And you know, like it's also like other way around. I love having like Marine as my girlfriend, like a beach volleyball player that can actually help you, you know, like get a little relief, you know, and a little like weight off. I would like try to prepare a match, and then she'd be like, hey, do you want me to look as well? And I'll be like, yeah, sure. Because she's super smart on strategy. So she would watch and she would give me her feedback. Like, hey, I think like you should serve this guy and do this, this, and this. And then I would look my notes and I'll be like, we're on the same page. Maybe I can implement this as well. Thanks for letting me know, you know. And other way around, like she would prepare. I want her to prepare her own match, like when she's playing. If she would ask me like, hey, can you prepare a match? I'd be like, yeah, if you prepare it. Like I'll help you, but I want you to like kind of, for me, there's something I want you to see it. If you know that they do a cut shot and I tell you, hey, like Jay Carusia cut shots all the time, which everybody knows. But if you don't see it on tape, you don't know how he's going to cut it.
You're right.
You got to see the way he like wraps around the ball. So you can know like in the game, like, oh, I see the arm. I know where location is going to be on this cut.
Yep. Patterns, disguises.
Yeah. Because there's different cuts, right? So for me, like we can help each other, you know, so same how I'm trying to help her, she can help me. And, you know, like it's something special having like beach volleyball partner, you know, like,
amen.
You know, as a relationship, especially like being a beach volleyball player.
We're right here. You can finish that sentence for me.
Being a beach volleyball player is not easy, right? No. Like you travel a lot, you know, you spend a lot of time on the beach where for other people, you're on the beach instead of working, you know, instead of getting money and, you know, like, and I'm like, yeah, but this is my dream. And like her being a beach volleyball player, she understands the dream. She supports me fully, you know, and when I come home, you know, like there's a difference between like, I call it regular people and beach volleyball players.
100%.
When I come back home and I'm like, hey, I just beat, doesn't matter. Like Taylor and Taylor, she's like, oh my God. But if I go and I tell my friend who never plays volleyball, hey, I just beat Taylor and Terry, he's like,
Oh, that's nice.
cool, like, Friday, you know?
Oh, that's nice. That must have been cool. You're like,
yeah.
Shut up. What do you mean that must have been cool? That's great.
It's like my parents follow me for years. You know, they kind of know players, but Marini's there, right? She knows all the players. She's on tour. She's hopefully like on AVP next year. I mean, this year. So
don't you love that type of person though? I just beat the Taylors. Oh yeah? I can see the beach from my house. It's like, shut up. Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah, so you know, it's amazing. It's amazing, you know, sharing those happy moments, but also like coming frustrated, and you know, if you don't have anybody to tell like what was bothering you, it's kind of like stays with you. But I would go home, I'd be like, I sucked on practice. I couldn't get defense. I couldn't get this and that. She'd be like, hey, you know, do this, or like, hey, don't worry, next time this, or you know, it's just like it helps even if I just tell her, you know, and other way around, obviously. And I'm a volleyball geek. I talk volleyball a lot, you know, and like I live volleyball. My family's was in volleyball, so for me, it's just nice to stay in that volleyball environment. You know?
Oh yeah. Well, there's also, and I wanted to say this to the camera. I'm talking to you, but I want to look at the camera when I'm saying this. Look, if you're in a relationship where the dude smokes weed, you got to smoke weed too. Okay. If you're in this relationship where neither one of you smoke, or one's a vegan or vegetarian for religious reasons. Yeah, that's an excuse to be a snob. But if you're a vegan or a vegetarian for, let's say it's for religious reasons, you know that ain't gonna work. You know that ain't gonna work. But if you're, you know what I'm saying? So the point I'm trying to get at, it's really, really beneficial to have someone in your relationship that also plays a sport.
For sure.
It's
not because
they don't feel because they don't feel like they're sacrificing time.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be, but it helps, if that makes sense.
No, but you know what I'm saying? They don't feel like they're sacrificing time or being a good sport so you can travel. They're traveling. Sure. They get it. They get it. There's nothing in the world like having a partner in your relationship that understands. Even if let's say she doesn't play volleyball, but let's say she knows sports. Let's say she's from an athletic family and maybe she's an academic. Even that kind of person gets it.
Yeah.
That kind of person actually wants to be at the games. And like this one, my wife, 2 state championships at Parkersburg High School, played, you know, got recruited to Harvard to play tennis and volleyball. She gets it. Like if I'm commentating, she gets it. You know, she's like, I ain't going with you, but I know where you're at and I know you're having fun. And that's all I care about. Yeah. What a great relationship.
No, it's amazing.
What a great relationship.
It's amazing. We get to travel together. Like some tournaments, we went to Morocco together. We went to Austria together. I don't even know. We played like in Serbia. We played in France. We played like multiple tournaments together, and it's just so nice, you know, like just watching each other, being in the same place, like staying together. Like 2 years ago, I won a futures in Turkey, and she was there, and it was just nice, kind of being in the room with her, and you know, like after the match, going in your like happy place, you know, like your safe environment.
Yep.
And my partner, his girlfriend was there, so he goes with his girlfriend, and it was just like our best tournament because we were not together nonstop. It was just like we were like girlfriends. We would meet before the match, warm up, boom, 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 go back, you know. And it was the best tournament, you know. So I feel, again, you don't have to have someone who's a volleyball player.
No,
but I feel I'm lucky. You know, I feel I'm lucky.
You're lucky
to have it. You know?
And she is too. She'll be the first one to tell you she's lucky too. Not just that, you're this charismatic person. You're this hardworking person, and there's nothing. Listen, besides washboard abs, there's nothing that turns on a girl more than a guy who works hard. When a woman sees her man out there working hard, getting it in, coming home exhausted from the hard work he put in, dude, it's red panty night, man. It is fun. There's not a bigger turn on. There's not a bigger turn off to women than arrogance, right? You could have a good looking guy, but if he knows it, you can't have anyone around it. You're good looking, you know it, but you won't harp on that. So, but your work ethic, your ability to recognize man equals man, is a great human trait. Never mind someone that a woman would want to be around. For you, if leaving this podcast, I will tell all of my friends, what do you think of him? I'm like, that's the kind of guy I want my daughter to date, but not my son to fight. a true American hero. So I'm complimenting you, but it comes from this very important place. And the cool thing is, I like about you is, and I have a quote from Shannon Sharp because I'm a big football fan. Never judge someone by by where they stand, because you don't know how they got there.
Yeah,
Never judge. Nora is actually a great example of that.
for
Never
sure.
judge someone by where they're standing, because you have no idea how they got there.
For sure. And
So
I would kind of add something on you saying like about my work ethic. Um, I
too.
I come up from a country that doesn't have beach volleyball.
Yeah.
I left my life, my family, my friends, my studies. Like I was a software engineer,
Yep.
software developer. I was pretty good at it at that time. I left
I could
everything.
use some help, dude.
I left everything to follow my dream. And for me, like not giving 100% is like it's
It would be the
this
most regrettable thing
it's
you've ever done in your
disrespectful
life.
to me. It's
Yeah.
like I cannot do that to myself.
Right.
If I left everything, I gotta work 100%. I gotta give everything I can in order to see. And for me, it was always, I talk on other podcasts about this.
Yeah.
It's about seeing how far I can go. So I gotta give every single thing.
Yeah.
And I would even ask myself, am I giving everything? And usually the answer is no. I can definitely give more. I can do more. And this is probably the first year that I feel I'm giving 100%.
Your
Like,
stars on the rise, man.
I added conditioning twice a week. I'm going to gym 3 times a week. I'm doing practices on the beach almost every single day. Now I also hired a coach, so I'm not coaching myself anymore.
Who's your coach?
I practice a lot with Evie. So I feel,
Oh, Evie?
yeah. Evie's great.
You
and
better help.
super smart coach. And
Yeah.
again, talking
He's a
about
real one, dude.
deliberate practice, I told Evie I need to learn this in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
And having someone just spot you and give you feedback. And obviously Evie has a lot of success. Like he's coaching Taylor's, who won Manhattan. He's coaching Kelly Kolinsky, who was in
When
the
him and
finals.
Sarah Hughes won.
Yeah.
Sarah Hughes and Kelly won on Manhattan Beach the
Yeah.
previous year.
So he has obviously
big win for
ton
him.
of experience. And
Big UFC fan, by the way. He's a big MMA guy.
But
So,
but basically talking about, like work ethic, I feel I finally got it. But it's like if you're gonna put in the work, I feel there's nothing that you cannot do. Obviously, like if you're completely not talented and you're not coordinated, you're not gonna be a world champion.
right.
But I was always like, people never believed in me. Most of the players, the coaches, I was always on the bench. Like, I'm there, but I'm like, there's someone more talented than you. So I was like a third outside, so I would be on the bench if something like is not working, they would put me in. But like, let's put this guy because he has like a higher ceiling,
Right.
But I never wrote myself off. I always believed like, I know I can do it. And I'm saying this because I want to encourage other players to like, if you believe that you can do it, if you really want it, you just have to put in the work. But you have to put in a lot of work. Like, don't lie to yourself. Don't be like, I can do this, but I'm going to do a little bit. Like,
Right.
I do it 100%. And for years and years and years, I'm not just going there to practice. I'm going with a purpose. Like, they say, like, work smart, not hard, right?
Right.
Well, in my case, like, work smart and hard. Like,
Yeah.
make those deliberate practices, figure out what you want to improve, work really hard on that, and then over and over and over. And you're going to see, like, what you're going to see is, like, people are going to retire, people are going to give up, and people are not going to put enough work like you do.
Agreed.
So all of a sudden, you're going to start jumping, and you're going to find yourself in a place like I am where I never believed I'm going to be. Like, I wanted to play beach volleyball. My dream was to be a pro player. For my dad, to be a pro player is like, you need to make money. For me, it was like, I want to be able to live this life and not be in minus. Still is. That's still the goal.
No,
Like,
of
go
course.
play World Tour and not be in minus. That's tough. But
That's the challenge.
but my point is, if you believe in yourself and if you work hard enough, there's a really, really higher ceiling than what people expect you can go to. If that makes
100%.
sense.
It makes complete sense. Not to mention, the more that you have your nose in the work and the blinders, you start worrying less about trying to be good, right? Because trying to be good should never be your goal. Being good should be the net result of the working hard and working smart that you just aforementioned that you put in. If that's the result instead of your goal. Because if it's your goal, then it's your obstacle at the same time, because you're not thinking about what you're not focused completely on what it takes to be good, right? So just be good. You know what I'm saying? And you really mentioned something about working hard and working smart, but I would also caveat by also saying it does involve giving up some levels of control, right? There's some things you think you're good at, and there's some things like, if I think I'm good at this, how come I'm not winning? I gotta submit to this and see if this works for me. Try it. It doesn't work. Okay, move on. It's working. Wow. Let's keep this son bitch rolling, right? Let's just keep doing that. Evie, very good. He's very good with that. He's very, very good with that. Pompeo is very, very good with that. Leandro, Pompeo was actually with us in the summer. So that was the story I wanted to tell you before. We had a group of coaches in 2019, juniors club called Endless Summer. I joined them in 2017, but as coaches started moving away, like Andrew Dentler moved away, Miles Evans decided to play full-time, Oz moved. She's like, do you know anyone? And I'm like, yeah, I know Jaron, right? So, yeah, I know this guy. So I know Jeff Samuels. So Jeff came in. Rob McLean, who was a skilled Nazi too. And next thing you know, like 2019, we have Pompeo, we have Arturo. So we have like 7 savages. This guy's from Brazil. I'm a dirty New Yorker from Brooklyn, right? Jeff Samuels from Flint, Michigan via Florida. Pompeo's from Rio. I think he's from Rio, according to you, but I'm not sure. Jaron's from the Philippines, right? And all of us every Thursday had this meeting where we share ideas and we argue. It almost comes to blows because of arguments about new ideas, but it's all for the kids. So 2019 we had 19 kids, right? And we had 13 commitments out of the 19 kids. Nice. That number has never happened before, and that number will never ever happen again. And every time I think I'm the best coach out there, because you have to have the inner belief to whatever. I sit in a room like with these diverse people. I'm like, man, I don't know nothing, And I only felt that way one time before, and that was twice before. John Mayer and my guy, my mentor, who coach was the assistant coach, head coach for 4 Olympic teams. Mario Trebic coached the Netherlands, 92 and 96. Assistant coach Soviet Union, 88, and assistant coach women's American team, 84. So 3 silvers and a gold. So that's the guy you always like kind of like shut up and listen. I'm definitely shutting up and listening to you more. My audience is going to be happy. Like I'm talking now, but they're like, thank God he let his guests talk. You have so much to say. This is such a fun podcast, and I'm not sure where your hard stop is, because I could go all day. I don't even need to eat. I'm eating volleyball right now. So talk to me. And if there's something you wanted to say, we can definitely jump back or say it now. But talk to me the last, pretty much from when Laguna ended, right? And you're putting a little bit of training in and this and that. Talk to me about one area where you think you've shown significant improvement, if not enough conspicuous improvement. It can be in a skill set, it could be in your mindset. Djordje Klasnic, the floor is yours.
So you the question is from Laguna till now. Yeah. So
is that a more difficult, challenging? Is that a more challenging question because it's off season?
No, I do that.
All right, cool.
That I kind of wanted to mention something before that.
Please,
no. That's connected.
I didn't want you to forget it because I talk too much.
That's connected to me is like, and it's connected to your question is when I say work hard, I have this conversation with my roommate Tyler. He's 19 and I'm trying to help him, improve, and he practices me a lot. I love drilling with him, and he's always available. He's always ready to go and do some volleyball touches. And we had this conversation of, he asked me like, how can I be that good? How can I achieve win medals? And and I'm like, hey, are you putting in the work? He's like, I am. I'm practice every day. I say, okay, practice every day, that's what people consider hard work, and I guarantee you 80 to 90% of players I practice every day. So, I'm going to get better. But it's not about the time that you put in on the court, because everybody puts in the time on the court. It's how much time do you put in on improvement outside of the court? Which I don't even talk about mental improvement. I just talk about, do you analyze your game? Do you watch the videos of your game? Do you record your practices? Because I do. Record almost every single practice and watch it after practice to see, how was my arm swing? Was I leaning forward? How was my passing? Was I backing up? Was I making a cross step instead of shuffle? How was my finish on the handset? Was it too fast, too slow? you gotta put in the work outside of the court in order to be better. And same for the matches, for the tournaments. Oh, like, yeah, I practice hard, we're gonna win this match. Okay, but did you put in the work outside of the court? Meaning, did you watch the tape? Did you prepare the strategy? You know, like, did you watch maybe a last match when you lost to them? How did they beat you? Like,
Controllable.
there's
Right, the other team can't make you not watch tape. Go ahead.
So I asked Tyler, like, how much are you putting outside? He's like, well, you know, I'm like, well, you played games last night on the PlayStation for a couple hours. Why didn't you watch someone your size, like Bruno, you know, Bruno Resende, and like, not Bruno Resende, Bruno, the one that played with Alisson, and, you know, like, figure out what he does in attack, and then come to next practice and try that, instead of come to next practice and continue where you stopped last practice.
It's one of my favorite players.
So for me, like, I really analyze a lot, and I definitely see improvements since Laguna, because I really try to see, like, what am I trying to improve. Something that was challenging this year was I'm really like kind of interested, you know, in like things. I want to figure out. I tried every single serve that exists. That's how I came up with a skyball. I tried every single arm swing. I tried every single shot. I'm pretty sure I can do any shot. Obviously not efficient enough, because I tried every single thing. So I don't stick to one thing. Right. So this year I tried, like, okay, let's not try every single thing. Let's choose what we want to improve on. And a couple times I wanted to, like, lose that path, and I like snapped myself. I'm like, get back to the path. And the goal was obviously, like, defense. And defense was my, like, ultimate goal for, like, off season. And I've been putting in the work with conditioning. So when I say conditioning, I do a lot of, like, footwork, diving, you know, like, small touches. Like, I post on Instagram now more and more on, like, kind of my workouts. So people can actually see, and, you know, like, if somebody ever asks me a question, I want to share it, because, you know, obviously, like, the point is, what's the point if you know everything, or if you do everything and you don't share?
You don't share.
You know, like, Djokovic, if you know Djokovic, the best tennis player in the world right now.
Yeah. Possibly ever, but go ahead.
Pretty much, yeah. So he is Serbian, obviously, and I listen a lot of his talks, because he's a really smart guy, and he said, like, God gave me this chance to be here, and he gave me the talent, but he gave me with purpose. So, like, now when I have eyes on me, I can share the message. You know, I can teach people, tell them, you know, like, whatever it is, you know, like, what you think about life, or to be more generous, or to respect each other, or how to be a better athlete, or, you know, it doesn't matter, but there's a mission in you, you know. So if you don't share it with anyone, what's the point, you know?
Agreed.
So for that part, like, I feel that people need to, like, I try really to help people, like, open the eyes, and, like, this is what volleyball is. It's not just the practice. And I see a significant improvement in defense, even though, like, for years I've been
what about
saying,
your defense?
Yeah, so I've been saying, like, I'm not a good defender, but obviously I'm a good defender. Like, I would not be here without my digs. But the problem is, I want more. And I'm really analytical. Again, I watch a lot of tape, and I see the ball. I'm like, he showed the poke early and you didn't see it and you lost the point. Or he leaned a little bit to the side, which, you know, it's going to be sharp angle, but I didn't step in. So for me, it's a lot about this offseason learning the positioning, where I'm supposed to stand. So again, controllable, right?
Yeah.
Where I stand is what I control. Where they hit, it's not what I control. But I want to improve the control part of, like, where am I supposed to be in the court according to where they are. And that was one thing. And then another thing was definitely, like, running. I hate running. And because
me too.
Some players are just fast, right? Like, my girlfriend, like, she doesn't have to practice that. She's so fast. Like, she's touching every single defense.
And she's fast in quickness or speed? Quickness meaning first step, and speed meaning
both, but
pursuit.
Both, but mostly quick step, because she was playing tennis. Her mom was a pro tennis player.
Yeah, and that first step,
to brag a little bit.
That first step is golden in tennis. Yeah,
her mom was a top 100. She played Roland Garros, Wimbledon. Like, her mom was badass. And
she's in the other room. She don't like me talking about her, but my wife too.
Yeah, that's just amazing. So Marine comes from that, like, kind of professionalism, and she tried playing tennis, so she learned all that, like, quick move, you know, on reception and receiving the serve and stuff. So she has it, but I don't, and I hate running. So I'm like, okay, if I'm so slow on reaction or speed, or it doesn't matter, let's start with running, you know. But obviously not running like let's run from
No.
my house to the pier.
No,
It's
just
more like
burst.
let's start moving in sand. You know,
Burst,
like,
yeah.
and then I analyze like who does it the best. Who does the best footwork exercises in the world? Brazilians. They're just, if you watch every
Huge.
single Brazilian,
Huge emphasis on footwork.
it's
Indoor and beach, both.
but there's no one Brazilian player that doesn't do footwork. Even when you watch like Marcos Carvalhais, who lives here now, all about like conditioning. There's always some like footwork, agility, conditioning that he's doing. And then you watch Guto, the best defender, and then you watch Andre and George, and everybody does it. You know, and
You talked about Bruno, right? He can,
Yeah.
the guy can pursue any ball on the court in 0.8 seconds.
for sure. And then if
That's
if,
like-
if I look like, okay, those are great defenders and they do this, and I'm not happy with my defense, let's try to do what they do. Let's see. You know, maybe it's not gonna help, but let's try. Let's put in the work. Let's try this year. Maybe I had to take something off. You cannot do everything med max, right?
No.
You have to balance. So I took a little bit, one gym off, but I put 2 conditionings. And I put one beach session less because I spent an hour running shots and, you know, like digging balls and doing agility. But I sacrificed something in order to gain defense, and then I want to see the result.
Yeah.
So if you ask me if I see results, I feel a little better. But already in Laguna, that was already a couple weeks after I started doing it, and I was digging way more than usual. Obviously, Bill is great blocker and great in strategy, so our strategy was on point. So that was partially why I got.
Who
a lot
won
of hits.
Laguna?
Sean and Cody. They beat us in 2 sets, in 3 sets in a semifinal,
All right.
and then they beat Jake and
Oh,
Caleb.
yeah, Caleb.
But basically, like, I feel that's gonna be a great improvement, but I kind of don't want to see it yet. You know, it's like a surprise for me. I'm playing a little bit, but you know, I'm keeping it for when it's time. Let's see how fast I am. You know?
You let the work take care of itself. So basically what you're saying is you showed improvement on like your quickness, right? Because the Brazilians, the footwork is everything, but if you watch their first step, like when you watch a blocker pull, his first step is huge.
Yeah.
Because his first step is huge because now he has automatic speed with the right to slow down as opposed to stepping small. He steps small, he takes a second step, he's still in the same spot. It's like he's doing a running man. Back in giving away my age, that's a running man. But first step, a balance. John Mayer's really good with this too, because John Mayer's balance, you're not too lean forward where you can't really do anything. His balance is this way, and now his first step is this way. Taylor's got a pretty good first step too.
Sure.
Peruvic and Schweiner, the Czechs, I forgot which one of the defenders. He's a fantastic
yeah.
first step guy, man. He's such a good defender, you know. Lupo, since he was a pup. A naturally gifted first step athlete. I don't mean to call it first step because I like your term footwork is more appropriate because it's not just that. It's the start and finishing act of the completion of the dig.
Sure.
So good to know that you said that. Good to know that you said that. Now you were actually answering the second part of my question. And so I'm just gonna ask it. What's one area between now and April? We're in January now that you want to show some improvement, or were you not finished with your
No, that's good. That's good. Actually, interesting that my best tournament that I felt like physically was Huntington. For some reason,
you were so good, dude.
It was beginning of.
You talking about the qualifier or the tournament?
The tournament. We played Trevor and Theo, and I think after that day I was like a number 1 hitter on like percentage or something.
It was ridiculous.
And
I was there. I was coaching.
It was me. It was I just felt physically like loaded. My arm was ready, and I was just like popping balls, mostly angle, and just like off the block, off defender. And then slowly how the season went, and this every year is the same. I slowly like started losing physical abilities, and then you know like by the end of the season, it's like okay, it's time for off season.
Yeah.
And so,
but you made it all the way to Laguna, so good for you.
Yeah, I kept pushing, but the more you go to like end of the season, the more oscillation happens. You would like lose a match that you're not supposed to lose to, or you know like you would really have to fight it, or you would get tired, you know. But I definitely like kind of explore attacking this year. So 2023, I moved from the up and down set, which was mostly my go-to, and then looking the court, kind of, I don't know who to compare it with, but a lot of like head movement, look the defender, and then shoot. And maybe it works on a little lower level, but on top level, the big
No.
guys eat you.
No,
alive.
because
It's
by the
just-
time you look back up, they're already gone.
Bro,
They've already switched.
We went to Australia end of 2022. Me and my partner Lazar, and we played. I don't know if you know World Tour teams, but French team Linel and Basro.
Yep.
And that guy,
Good year last year.
that big blocker, he blocked me so much. We played a challenger and elite there,
Right.
and both tournaments we played him, and both tournaments we lost. And he blocked me so much because he's so high in the air that like shots have to be really high, but he can cut my sharp angle when you're up and down, right? Because everything is just in front of you. So my goal was like, okay, let's start running push sets and outside to the pin. So I have a little further angle, so it's harder for big blockers to stop me. And I definitely felt like that was the improvement. So
All right, let me show you a video. Let me interrupt you because this is a demonstration of an up and down set as we go to the tape. Let's see if I can widen this. Yeah, I don't think we need to hear all this music, but all right. So this is more up and down, right? This is Huntington, by the way.
this would still be a little push. If you
a little
see
bit of a
it,
drifter,
it's
yeah.
Still, I'm still letting it kind of follow on my left shoulder.
Good Lord. Show that again. We need to show that again. I love it because as an indoor player, they give you this little bit of line, or they're like, "There's no way this guy's gonna go there. He's going sharp cross, left hand." You saw how Caldwell, right hand in your face. Sorry, as we go back to us, right hand in your face, left hand press. He was thinking sharp cross or split seam or whatever all the way. All right.
For sure.
Enough of that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So that
Let's go back to it. Let's go back to it. We gotta go back to
that
it.
example would be like me changing my offense to a little further set. If you look, I'm a little further to antenna. So now Cody had to kind of either choose if he's gonna block angle or line. Where before I would run right to the setter, and then up and down set where the blocker would kind of spread his arms and block me like the whole thing.
Yep.
If you look, he had to take that shuffle to the antenna.
He did. He did. He was going straight line on this one, but he technically he did everything correct.
For sure.
And he only left you this as we rewind again. We could watch this 15 times. This is fun. But look at the margin for error that you had to play this line shot. You torque your upper body any more, you're playing with the line bouncing and going wide, right?
For sure.
Your footwork is already kind of in beach mode anyway, right? You're not pivot footing this because this isn't indoor. Indoor, you'd be pivot footing that right step, but here you're going straight on because there's only one blocker and not a two-man block. All right, cool, man. I just wanted to see that just for fun. Fun with Mr. DJ. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, basically, like I spent a lot of time like moving a little more to the pin. By the end of the season, like playing Laguna with Bill, I started running a lot of like back further sets. I picked up that in Mediterranean games right before Laguna when I went back home. I played with my partner and we lost to Portugal. Really good team, like their top team that actually won Challenger last year. And they were running a lot of those like kind of really quick back sets, but with a delay, so you would not really recognize it's a back set. And the guy would just explode there and jump, and he would hit over us. Like he gets there so early. And I was like, okay, I think I can implement that. So I added that a little bit to my game. So 2023 was mostly offense, and that's why like I was happy enough with my statistics. You know, like my numbers were saying like, okay, offense is pretty good.
Yep.
Then I look myself on the AVP statistics, which is not 100% accurate. Some matches they don't really follow, so you would get a 0.
I do my own stats, and
then
I agree.
You would get 0, and then all of a sudden, like they would do average per set, but you got a 0 from one match, so now you're like way below everyone. But
kills minus errors divided by attempts.
If you look digs, you need to scroll to find my name. You know? So the goal is like, okay, like let's get up there. I'm pretty high on the list for missed serves though. I'm competitive there.
But I wanted to mention something you said in the beginning of the podcast. You got 3 errors and maybe 1 ace. You know what? You know what the stats don't show? The shanks and the out of system balls that they have to bring back, right? And that non-stat stat sticks out more for indoor than beach, right? Because indoor you have to.
That's really interesting. John Mayer really uses that in his statistics. It's like how many aces, how many out of system and how many in system.
Yeah.
And the goal is like, let's say, to have 50% out of system.
Yep.
If they receive more than 50% in system,
Yeah,
you
because
gotta
that's what doesn't show up on that paper.
you
on
got to
John's
serve
paper.
different serve. That's why John always has good servers, because he's like, this serve is not working. Let's
And
find
as a
something
player-
that's gonna get them more out of system. Like, look all his players. Everybody's good service.
And,
Everybody,
and John Mayer himself.
he's insane.
He had his
floater.
jump floater.
Yeah, it's insane.
Was gnarly. I was in Mexico when I met John, and it was like a vacation thing, and my wife was in the beach, and I was just a pure indoor guy. So they had an exhibition game, like indoor players versus the beach players. So I was the indoor rep.
Nice.
And they gave me Ty Trambly. You know, Ty's cool. I get served every ball. I got one of the best setters on the beach setting me, right? And I'm telling you, I pass balls backwards. Ty would just run back, take off on one leg, whoosh, clean. So it was 4-4, and then John it was a game to 15, and John just scored 11 points. I got worked. Now, there's a mutual respect, because when you see me hitting on the beach and him hitting, it's like, all right, he knows how to play. He's just not a beach player, and I'm going to beat him 15-4 because that's the way John respects you. He doesn't go on the court and play around or whatever. So his way of respecting you, if I'm 11 points better, I'm going to beat you 15-4. But my favorite part, and this is just a story just for random, I got caught off the net. And when I got caught off the net, I knew he was going to hit straight down. So as an indoor player, I'm like, he's a beach player. I'm just going to step up to the 10-foot line and eat it, right? And he hit a ball in front of me. I stepped up. I'm willing to just take one because it's a beach ball. It's not like an indoor player where they're going to knock you out. So I stepped up, and he still hit it in front of me, and it went this way. And I just went like this way, and everyone just started laughing. But that wasn't the story. The story was one play later. Mark Cairns was there, Mike's brother. I did a turn. I'm left-handed too. And I hit the exact same ball. And the way it hit, how sometimes when it hits the sand, it pops straight up to make it look like it's harder than it was. I hit a ball a certain way, and it just popped straight up, and everyone just goes, ooh. But that was 4-4. And then he got the next 11 points. But that was my John Mayer story. Nice. And we I joined him for dinner that night, talked about coaching. Then the next morning, I see him by himself. I'm like, you know what? Because you know I could talk. I'm like, I'm going to leave this dude alone, man. Yeah. But you know what happens? He picks up his tray, and he sits next to me and wants to talk about coaching again. And I'm like, I freaking love this guy. I love this guy. It was it was a vacation for my wife, and I was just chilling with her. SOB. Nice. Which, by the way, you should be one of the players next year. SOB, if you're watching this, I'm crazy for you, Mr. DJ. Because what happens is the players, they exhibition each other. They do clinics for some of the players. Right. And the 3 stops are Ixtapa, Puerto Vallarta, and Cabo. Nice. And my pros, the pros were Ty Trambly, the McCullochs at the time, Kevin and Ali, Betsy Flint, and Derek Olson. Derek Olson, who was still an active player though. Last year it was Evan Corey, Savvy Simo, Kristen Nuss, and Taryn Cloth, and Bill Kalinsky and Kelly. So they invite 6 pros to the whatever. But I'm promoting you. I'm promoting this dude. I got connections, bro. So we got to do this again. But what I want to do is I have something called the lightning rounds. All right. And we're gonna finish with that, and then we can get out of here because I know you're hungry and I don't know who's waiting at this front door
gotta hit the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So you gotta earn that food.
A late gym. Yeah.
Yeah. So what does a meal look like for you? What does this guy eat?
So it's actually interesting because you were making fun of vegan, but
I always make fun of vegans.
Marine is vegan, and Marine cooks, which I love. I love having a girlfriend that cooks because in Serbia, like, we're really foodies. Like, nice. Serbian food is great. If you ever get to try it, just
I have. I'm from New York.
Yeah.
So, New York, we have a different restaurant on every corner in Manhattan. I lived on the Upper West Side. Yeah. So Pio Pio is my favorite Peruvian restaurant. So, but sorry, go ahead.
So Serbian food is just great, and then Marine cooking. I just love homemade food, and
good for you.
At the same time, it's good for us as students, right?
Oh yeah.
But
it's cheaper. Get your cheap on.
But like most of the food here, it's just not that healthy. Let's put it like that.
Just say it's garbage.
Yeah. So.
You got a camera right there. Just say, I'd rather cook at home. There's your camera right there. Here's your chance.
But basically, Marine cooks, and I told her, like, hey, if you make vegan, I'll eat vegan. Like,
Nice.
I don't need you to cook meat.
As long as it tastes good, you don't care.
And the thing is, like, when you cook for yourself, you really try hard, right? You put the seasonings and this and that. When you put it for someone, you're like, okay. So mine was okay, meat was okay, but like this, whatever it was, like some replacement for meat was great. So I'm like, you know what? Forget about meat. Like, just cook whatever you cook for yourself, and I'll eat it.
I could do that Impossible sandwich at Starbucks.
Yeah, for
I know.
sure.
I'm not talking about cooking. I don't mean to make less of the cooking. I'll eat the hell out of that thing. That thing is awesome. And I was teasing you because I'm 53, and when you're my age, you will try all of these vegan, carnivore. Right now, I'm doing carnivore this whole month
Nice.
until the month's over. Right. You will try every form because it's your body, right? You know the only one that pays the price is you. So you try out everything in your whole life. You'll try out everything at least once. So good for you, man.
I mean,
And the result is good. Look at you.
let's
Look at
put
your
it-
energy.
let's put it
Your
like
energy shoots through the roof.
I'm not vegan. Let's put it like that.
No.
I eat when she cooks. I eat vegan, but I do eat meat. Like, I love
Yeah.
burgers, like stuff like that. You know, but I still eat. You know, if I feel like eating cheese or drink milk. You know, like whatever. But I took like a December and a part of November. Really, kind of. I'm Orthodox Christian, so we
Okay.
have this like kind of, it's called fasting, where we don't eat meat. And I
Yeah.
didn't eat meat for like a month and a half.
Before
And-
is it Lent? Like before Lent or something? Like Orthodox Christianity?
Is it what?
Lent? When you fast, that time of year that you guys fast?
It's before Christmas.
Gotcha.
So it's like a Christmas fast. Let's put it like that.
Nice.
And basically, I didn't eat meat, and I felt great. And after that, I started eating meat, and I didn't feel great. I don't know if it's connected. I still don't know if I believe in it. But I told her, like, I think I want to go more vegan than meat.
Right.
Obviously, if I feel like I want to eat like something that has meat or cheese, I'm not gonna avoid it because I don't call myself vegan. But I feel less meat makes me kind of feel better.
Okay.
So I'm eating less meat and less dairy in like last couple of months, and
Cool.
feel great. I feel like kind of I lost a little bit of fat, if you
Yeah,
can call
dude.
fat on athletes, but I
Yeah.
feel I'm like a little lighter, you know, and like a little healthier.
I used to, when I got out of the army, when I left the military, I blew up to 265 pounds. So, you know, because the army, they don't teach you how to eat, man. And when you're in the army, you don't really, whatever
Yeah,
you
for
eat,
sure.
it doesn't, you
You
don't hold it
spend it,
down
yeah.
anyway, right? So, my boss, I worked in a cardiology practice, wrote a book called Doctor, What Should I Eat? And it's a book that prescribes foods for ailments instead of medication. So, do you want to take iron supplements, or you can eat cold spinach or red meat? That's your source of iron. Do you, your fat burner, right? Do you want to take fat burners as a supplement, or do you use avocado? Californians love avocado. New Yorkers, we love dark
We love
chocolate.
avocado.
We love dark chocolate. We love cashews, right? Those are our fat, East Coast fat burners, right? Vitamin D, building up your vitamin D, you can work out outdoors, right? 2/3 of the population in New York City have low vitamin D. California, not so much. So I ended up losing 60 pounds.
Nice.
Right now I'm 210. But I was 265 and I got to 200, which was my athletic playing weight. And it all became just from understanding what works for you, what doesn't, and that not every diet's one size fit all. I'll just come to that conclusion. But I do love when you make meat the right way. When I make it, I use it in olive oil. Sometimes I just butter. You make a salmon. I make my own steak.
Yeah.
And I did carnivore last year and I lost 17 pounds in a month and a half.
For me, I feel it's not mostly the meat. It's more like I for a couple of years I avoid soda.
Yeah.
If I feel if like Marine loves like cherry Coke, if like she craves, okay, I would drink a glass. But I had at one point I had like need to drink something else, so I figure out like I don't want to drink water. What can I drink? So I started drinking sparkling water.
I was like vodka.
we have a soda stream, and I would just like drink a lot of sparkling water, and that way I really avoided drinking soda. So every time I feel like I want something bubbly, I would get sparkling water. But I have this kind of part of guilt when I take a sweets or I take a soda. I have this part of guilt of like, you're drinking this, sugar is gonna make you like maybe like get a little more fat, like
the grams of sugar.
let's say on the side, and
Yeah.
then again you're not maximizing your performance.
Of course.
So I have like every time I eat something, I would be like a little guilt, you know. But obviously, I'm not extreme not to eat it.
No.
I just try to like let's not eat 10. You know,
But
let's
it's about
not
the
drink
what,
every
right?
day like a bottle of soda.
It's about the what? Like you could drink a glass of orange juice and the amount of grams of sugar in that glass of orange juice is the same thing, give or take two grams of sugar than the soda, right?
Yeah.
Me, hey, for the fans, go Diet Pepsi, get your aspartame kicked. Get your aspartame kicked. Something you wanted to say before we go to lightning rounds? So these are quick questions. We're doing 60 seconds on the clock. There it is.
All right.
Let's go. Where is it? Let me start. Boom. All right. So, favorite comedian?
Serbian. You don't know the name, so let's
Okay.
just put it Serbian comedian.
All right, cool. Last good book you read?
Last good book. I always go to A Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. I love that book.
Nice. Last good movie you watched? And someone like you probably don't even watch movies.
Side Out.
Side Out. Yes. You must have loved my video. Did you love it?
Made Marine watch
yes.
it, and a roommate, and
Marvel or
everybody
DC?
loved it. Marvel, DC,
Yeah.
Marvel for sure.
All right, Pool or Beach?
Beach always.
Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter?
Harry Potter.
Bourbon, vodka, or tequila?
Rakia.
Favorite sport outside of volleyball?
Ping pong.
Favorite action film star growing up?
Let's put it Will Smith.
I like that. Favorite conspiracy rabbit hole? Like mine is like the JFK assassination. I don't think Oswald made the shot. Fake the
Pass.
Yeah, good. You don't have one. That's really good. Do you know I actually put up the final play for Side Out because there was a rule change coming for indoor where double hit is going to be considered legal.
Mm-hmm.
So I did if you remember the last play Inside Out, where he jumps in the air like he's gonna hit and he does this 360 and flings it. In fact, we need to finish our podcast with that. I said, coming to an indoor gym near you. It is hilarious.
There's a whole movie on the YouTube.
See Thomas Howell.
Yeah, so if you guys never watched Side
It's Randy Stokely.
go check it. There's Sinjin, there's Randy. It's super fun. It's a old school beach volleyball cliche movie in Hermosa. Can't beat that.
But I love that they spent all this time respecting the game, only for the end, for the final play to be this. I can't find it. I could wait. I'll do it later. Anyone that wants to know a little bit more about you, what's your IG handle, or do you have a website, or computer science guy? Can you help me with my website?
It's just my name. I use Instagram mostly. It's my name, so Djordje Klasnic or Djordje Klasnic, and I use a little bit of Facebook, but it's all the content right now is on Instagram. Marine's trying to push me more on TikTok. I'm still fighting, but I should be on TikTok soon. I'm looking to kind of like create a course and do more tutorials. I did tutorials partially at one point. It's called Beach Quick. I have my Instagram account. But I'm looking to like start kind of giving more tips to beach volleyball players.
And guys, he wants to start a podcast about process preparation and also the mental aspect of these things. And if you know a good partner in crime for this gentleman for that podcast, please message him, because I might not be his guy. I'm doing actually a news thing called Undivided. So when I'm not doing this, I'm actually doing a Politico show too. So, but I volunteer my efforts to be a contributing guest.
I love it.
All right. Is that cool? All right, guys. So Djordje Klasnic might love you, but I don't love any of you guys. In fact, I can't stand you. In fact, we're out of here. So for all of you at home, for all of you on your desktop, for all of you on your iPad or iPhone, right? But who runs the world? Old school brothers. For my man, where is the camera? Djordje Klasnic. I'm Jason DeBeas. We're going to hit my music. Stay with me. But for now, thank you so much for joining us. We're out of here. Come check out the Option Podcast on optionvb.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.